Hello and welcome back to another video. Now we all know that Ash has had a lot of Pokemon throughout the run of the anime, and we have come to love a lot of them, but there's also some of them which could have been so much better. They could have really been a vital part of Ash's team, but for reasons unknown, they got forgotten about or just pushed to the side. So I'm going to be counting down my top 10 Pokemon that I wish we saw more from under Ash's ownership. Before I begin, my honourable mentions are every Pokemon that Ash rotated in Unova, because they could all have done with better development. Palpitoad, Leavanny, Scraggy and Boldar are ones that come to my mind straight away. No Unova Pokemon are on the main list, they can just have their spots here as the honourable mention. Number 10 is Gible. In the last spot is Ash's first ever Pokemon from a pseudo-legendary line, Gible. Gible was caught by Ash in episode 157 of the Diamond and Pearl series, which is quite late on in the series considering there was only about 30 or so episodes left to go after this. A lot of its time on screen was dedicated to mastering its Draco Meteor, which was a really cool aspect of this Pokemon's development, but it's just a shame it didn't really lead anywhere. Sure, it had a great battle against Conway in the Sinnoh League, with it using its recently mastered Draco Meteor to take down both Conway's Shuckle and Conway's Dusknoir, but that's all we got really. It made an appearance again against Tobias's Darkrai, but it got taken out really easily, which you can't blame it because it was battling a Darkrai. But I really wish Gible would have had more screen time, even if Ash caught it earlier in Sinnoh, but 4 generations later and we are still yet to see Gible make a return, which makes it one of Ash's most underused Pokemon. Number 9 is Naganadel. As a Poipole, it spent a bit of time with Ash and I really loved the period that it was with Ash, but it was always kind of obvious that it would eventually return to its home. My problem isn't with its life as a Poipole, but it's more of its return as a Naganadel. It returned just before his league battle with Kukui, because Ash needed a 6th Pokemon for the full battle, but it returned as a Naganadel. We didn't see it evolve on screen and we don't really know what it's been up to, it just seemed to randomly pop up. I like that it returned and I would have liked to see it more in between it leaving as a Poipole and returning as a Naganadel. Also, I don't get the point of it leaving in the first place just to have it come back. Why not have it stay with Ash and grow and then eventually evolve and become a part of his team? In number 8 is Aipom. So Ash caught Aipom at the end of the Advanced Generation series. It was a playful Pokemon who liked to steal Ash's hat all the time. It was a great addition to Ash's team and it even followed him after he left for Sinnoh. This was so cool having an old Pokemon actually follow as you're about to start a new journey. I wish more of Ash's Pokemon did this. It meant Ash could start out the new region with 2 Pokemon instead of 1. Of course, when he gets to Sinnoh, he puts in pretty good shift at Rourke and Gardenia's gyms, but it doesn't last too long as a gym battler. It finds that it would rather compete in contests with Dawn than gym battles with Ash, which is a bit of a shame. It could have been really cool to see how Aipom would have turned out with Ash. Would it have still become an Ambipom? It stayed with Dawn for a while, but in episode 124, Dawn released it to go and play ping pong. I actually like the ping pong arc. I know a lot of people don't, but I think it's pretty fun filler. But I don't like the fact that Dawn released it. I mean, I didn't care for it that much, but it seemed a bit of a waste. You took Ash's Pokemon and now you're releasing it. But I think in the end, Ash got the better end of the deal with Weasel, but Aipom was still really underutilised by Ash. Number 7 is Quilava. This may come as a surprise for some, but I think Ash's Quilava was very underutilised. And sure, it's got its fair share of appearances undoubtedly. Arguably, it was one of Ash's standout Pokemon in the Johto region. If you watch my video on Ash's Johto gym battles ranked, you can see how well Cyndaquil performed in them. I believe it outperformed Bayleaf and even Pikachu at times. The main reason I wanted to include it is the fact that it didn't evolve in the Johto region. It was certainly strong enough to evolve all the way up. I felt like the only reason it didn't was because Ash already had a Charizard who was returning from time to time, and that had to be his main fire type. But it would have been better if Cyndaquil at least became a Quilava back in Johto, rather than waiting 500 odd episodes before finally evolving in Sinnoh, and only taking part in 1 battle since evolving and then never to be seen again. Just imagine, at the end of Diamond and Pearl, Ash decides to take his newly evolved Quilava to Unova with him. This would have been so cool, and something that doesn't really happen enough in the anime. Overall, I think Cyndaquil was very underrated as a Pokemon, and now it's evolved, it's been forgotten, and I'd love to see its return. Coming in at number 6 is Kingler. I'm a big fan of Ash's Kingler. He actually caught it quite early on in his journey in episode 13, Mystery at the Lighthouse. It was a very undeveloped Pokemon in the original series, but this was mainly down to Ash not rotating his Pokemon because he was still a rookie trainer. In the Pokemon League he decided to give Krabby a try, and and it performed excellently, taking down 3 of Mandy's Pokemon in a clean sweep and evolving into Kingler along the way. It's one of my favourite early battles in the Pokemon anime, and it made me really hyped to see Kingler. We saw Kingler return quite a few times in the original series, mainly in Professor Oak's lab when Ash called him, but it returned a few times to battle, including in the World Cup and also the Johto League. But unfortunately it didn't end up battling in the Johto League because it got knocked out by a bunch of Voltorb, and that was pretty much his last big moment that we saw from Kingler. Ash had better water types over the years, so he hasn't had any reason to call him back. It was a shame that Kingler made such an impact in Ash's first ever league battle, but it hasn't had the chance again. Coming in at number 5 is Butterfree. The first Pokemon Ash ever caught was of course Caterpie. With such a short time to shine, it evolved into Butterfree and became one of Ash's most loved Pokemon, all within the first 21 episodes of the anime. Famously, Bye Bye Butterfree is one of the saddest moments in the anime, Ash's first released Pokemon, and it was the first one he caught. I have mixed feelings about the way this went down. It is a great moment which I'll always love to go back and watch, but I also wonder what Butterfree could have become if Ash kept it on his team. Obviously Butterfree isn't very strong in the games, but neither is Pikachu. It could have become one of Ash's most important Pokemon, and I believe as his first caught Pokemon it should have stuck around. But also the fact that it was only 21 episodes in which Ash released it is a bit frustrating as well. If it had stayed throughout all of Kanto, picked up some big wins for Ash along the way, it could have been an even more fitting send-off, instead of Pidgeot at the end of Kanto. To this day it will always remain one of the most underused of Ash's Pokemon, and without getting a single official battle win, not including Team Rocket battles, it's a shame that it got released and never returned. Next up is Donphan. I frequently forget that Ash actually owns a Donphan, and that might just be me, but I just never remember any standout moments that it had. Ash received the egg pretty late in his Johto journey, so similar to Gible and a few others, it was a late addition to Ash's team. I actually remember it a lot more as a Phanpy than I do as a Donphan, probably because it didn't evolve until all the way in the Advanced Generation series in the Battle Frontier. It was great that they had it return and actually evolve. It's returned quite a few times actually, firstly of course in the Battle Frontier, where it put in a good shift against Lucy's Seviper, and then came back for the Sinnoh League against Conway's Dusknoir, but it got knocked out. I just feel Donphan is such a cool looking Pokemon, and it really hasn't had any big moments to shine for Ash, especially since evolving. Much like a lot of these Pokemon on this list, it's just one of them Pokemon that doesn't really fit into a team. They come at the end of a generation, make a slight impact, and they're just left at Oak's lab, apart from the occasional appearance. In the third spot is Primeape. Ash's Primeape is the prime example of an underutilised Pokemon. Debuting in episode 25 of the original series, Primeape goes bananas. At the start of the episode, Ash is told by Oak you need to catch more Pokemon to catch up with Gary. So Ash decides at the end of the episode to capture this rampaging Primeape. Technically Primeape was the first ever Pokemon not to obey Ash, despite Ash only using it in one other episode. And in that other episode Ash catches it, earning its trust when it got knocked out of the ring. So the main reason why Primeape is so high on the list is that it only appeared in just 2 episodes, not counting flashbacks. Ash had a pretty powerful Pokemon on his team, but instead of training it, he decides to give it to a stranger who wanted to make it a P1 champion. It was so weird. I thought Primeape could have really been a solid Pokemon for Ash. He didn't have any fighting types on his team at the time, so it would have slotted in nicely. It's also really confusing because in Black and White's opening 2, Bee and Arrow, you get a shot of all of Ash's Pokemon at Oak's lab, and Primeape is included. So what's the deal with that? If it's returned, why haven't we seen it? It could just be a non-canon opening just to show off all of Ash's Pokemon, but it's still strange to me to this day that hasn't been explained. Overall, I just wish Primeape got some more screen time in between episodes before its release, and I wish it didn't get released so quickly. I don't care that it's gone now, but it would have been nice to see it take some names in battle. Taking the second spot is Lapras, another one of Ash's original series Pokemon. I really have a problem with how Lapras was treated in the anime. It was only on Ash's team for all of the Orange Island arc, and then of course it returned for that one episode in Johto, which was nice. But Lapras was purely used as a way to get Ash to get around the Orange Islands. They didn't really dive into any deep development with it or have any dedicated episodes towards it, except for the capture and the release of it. It just seemed like something that was needed for Ash to travel to island. Even his first gym battle, he had to compete in a wave ride against a Blastoise. If Ash didn't capture Lapras, he wouldn't have had any Pokemon that would have been able to do this. So it seemed a bit shoehorned in. I love Ash's Lapras itself, I just wish it got more attention and development. It only battled once in the whole Orange Islands, and that was against Drake in the champion match, and it only tied. so it remains one of Ash's few Pokemon that is undefeated and also has never won a battle. I wish they kept Lapras around for a bit longer. They could have had a Johto episode where Ash releases it instead of at the end of the Orange Islands. It would have given Lapras more time to shine and actually take part in some battles. Number 1, the most underutilized Ash Ketchum Pokemon is Glalie. So this is pretty similar to how Gible turned out. Ash caught it quite late in his Hoenn journey. He put a lot of effort into mastering its Ice Beam and actually put in some very nice work at the Hoenn League, including the win against Metang and a double knockout against Tyson's Sceptile. Glalie is a very underrated Pokemon for Ash, but you can't really blame people, it barely gets seen. After the league, Ash decides to conquer the Battle Frontier, and he's going to use a whole flurry of different Pokemon to do it. Old Pokemon and new Pokemon, all of them. So this is a perfect chance for Glalie to shine, right? Nope. Ash leaves it behind at Oak's lab and never calls on it for a single battle in the Battle Frontier. This was such a shame. Glalie has so much potential and Ash didn't use it. It was truly forgotten. Okay, so maybe it didn't get a chance in the Battle Frontier, but Ash decided to use all of his old Pokemon in the Sinnoh League. Awesome, maybe Glalie will finally get a go. Also, he's seen training with Infernape and Torterra for his match with Conway, so it's finally going to get some spotlight. Nope. Once again, Ash didn't use it. He switched up his tactics against Conway and went with a completely different team. And Glalie truly is one of the most underutilized Pokemon of all time. It had so much power and potential to become one of Ash's strongest Pokemon, and it's got such a cool design as well. But it's been massively underdeveloped and overshadowed, which is why it gets number 1 on this list. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you agree with my list, and what's your list? Are there any other Pokemon that you think should have been included? Please like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and see you next time.